So my metaphor for relationships is building bridges, and this is for family, friends, romantic relationships, all of it. I start the metaphor as being like a bridge in kind of a medieval England pastoral image. If you want to hold an image in your mind while I describe this, imagine that. And it's like a wood bridge with planks and stuff that you walk on. And probably like cobblestone supports on like the shore. But so, the reason why you build the bridge is because every person, to a certain extent, I think to a kind of a large extent, is living in their own world. Their one that they build, their extension of their perception into their own reality. And we build bridges in between those worlds for trade, for an enrichment of our own lands through the exchange of information and goods with other lands. And so the first kind of step in building a bridge is walking up to the shore and kind of waving at the person who's across the river from you. And then you kind of enter into a negotiation about, hey, should we build a bridge? And if so, how are we going to do this? And my feeling, my philosophy is that, you should definitely have people on the shore who are waving to the other countries or lands or the other shore. And you should also always be willing to build at least half a bridge, and be pretty forthcoming and non-withholding in that regard. I think it's really important to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but that has to end at the 50% bridge built mark. And if you find yourself in a situation where you're standing on a bridge halfway through the river and the other people aren't really building a very good bridge, or maybe their bridge isn't actually going to connect to yours, it's kind of going past it, or they just haven't started and they kind of keep being like, no, if you just come on just a little bit further, then we'll build like a really awesome bridge. Like, you should definitely be wary of those people. They're often predators and thieves, emotional vampires. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to get into your land for unheroic reasons. They want to take your stuff. They want to take your emotional resources. And so I think you should be really careful as soon as you kind of hit that point. That's kind of a big red flag. And maybe even there, I say give people the benefit of the doubt, and if they don't, they're kind of not holding up their end of the bargain. And like, well, you can kind of just walk away from that right there. You don't have to knock that bridge down, your half of the bridge, but I would recommend definitely not building anymore. But if you do, if for whatever reason, this applies especially to family, you are put in a situation where you have to build more than your fair share of the bridge, then look very carefully at the goals of the person who you now share this bridge with. What's the flow look like of your stuff and your people over to their stuff and their people? Are they just taking? The worst people, their land is empty. There's nothing there. They don't have any produce. They're not making anything. They're not farming. They live in a kind of barren, emotional landscape, and they want to fill that with yours, but because they're not a self-sustaining place. They're kind of like raiders or conquistadors or thieves, pirates, vampires. They need you. They need food. and they're not going to grow it themselves. So I think also, especially if your land, your world, your map is a bountiful one, um, that replenishes its resources, look out for predators, because they're gonna see that and they're gonna want it. And if you should find yourself in one of those situations, burn that bridge, burn it really quickly, and don't look back. I think that's a perfectly acceptable strategy. I haven't really figured out a better one. You could kind of try and go over there on like a altruistic mission, to teach them how to sow crops and how to what a fallow period is and how to cull something, but not. I don't know. So we're stretching the metaphor right now, but that's a lot of work. It's a lifetime of work. And you're going to spend a significant amount of the resources of your bountiful land trying to make their barren wasteland into a semi-livable place, that may at any point experience some kind of catastrophe that results in, a Mad Max kind of return to apocalyptic savagery. So I think you just kind of have to burn that bridge and walk away, and that's just it. Which is sad, but that's just kind of seems to be how that goes. The alternative, which is beautiful, is that you enjoy the bridge so much and find it so rewarding that you build more bridges. And at some point, the metaphor changes, and it's not pastoral England. It's more like Kurt Vonnegut, or like something out of comic books, where they're kind of like wormholes, in between realities, like alternate realities that are just kind of existing on top of each other, and you can like punch a hole through one and be in kind of the same place but in a slightly different way with another one, and if you punched enough holes, then that just becomes one place. And now, instead of there being bridges between worlds, you're just making one world together, which is a bigger, better world than the world that you had before. And I think that if you want to build the biggest, best world, necessarily you're going to need the most help, as many humans as you can, to help build that world. It's kind of like the most accurate map of reality can only really be triangulated by the greatest number of people. And that's like the best thing. That those things, it's once you kind of get into that area, that territory, then it becomes more like a kind of fusion reaction where it becomes self-sustaining, and it's, those people, if they require energy from you in order to build a bridge, they could maybe need you to put out 90% of the energy, and they're going to only give you 10 for this bridge. But that their land is a safe investment, and even if you have to pay this kind of upfront cost, you can rely on them to pay you back at a later date. And those once you find those people, then that kind of changes the game, and those are the relationships that are worth sustaining, and the bridge is worth building and maintaining.